My wife, Adeline, and I got married 2 years ago. We first met as co-workers, and at the time, both of us were in our 30s. Adeline had always dreamed of starting a family. So after we tied the knot, she decided to become a full-time housewife. She embraced her new role wholeheartedly, handling all the household responsibilities with enthusiasm. Watching her thrive in this role made me feel both fortunate and content. I was happy with the way we had divided our duties, and I shared her desire to have children. However, 2 years passed, and despite our initial plans, we hadn't taken any real steps towards starting a family. At first, I didn't dwell on it too much. I began to think that perhaps it was better to enjoy our time together a little longer before stepping into parenthood. With that mindset, I chose not to press the matter. One evening, my colleagues organized a last-minute end-of-year gathering. Since it was unexpected, I called Adeline to inform her about it. I apologized for the sudden change of plans and asked if she was okay with me attending. She was incredibly understanding and supportive, reassuring me that she didn't mind. In fact, she even offered to prepare something for me to eat in case I returned home hungry. Her kindness reminded me once again of how lucky I was to have her. After the party, I walked home from the train station. The streets were quiet, and I was lost in thought, until I spotted something that sent a chill down my spine. Across the street, I saw Adeline, but she wasn't alone. She was walking alongside an unfamiliar man. They were holding hands, laughing, and looking far too comfortable with each other. My heart sank. Instinctively, I ducked into the shadows near a bus stop, trying to make sense of what I was witnessing. As I stood there hidden, memories started piecing themselves together. Looking back, I realized that Adeline had been acting strangely for some time. Since we had worked together before, she was well aware of my schedule. Lately, she had been asking oddly specific questions about when I'd be home. I had also noticed that she was spending more time on her phone. Whenever I inquired about it, she would brush it off, saying she was just playing games. But now, seeing her with that man, everything suddenly made sense. A sickening feeling settled in my stomach. I couldn't deny the truth. Adeline was having an affair. I wanted to confront her immediately, but doubt crept in. What if I was misinterpreting the situation? What if I was overreacting? I hesitated, convincing myself to wait until I had undeniable proof. A few days later, the opportunity presented itself. Adeline had left her phone on the living room table before heading to take a bath. A nagging feeling inside me refused to let go. I knew it was wrong, but my unease overpowered my guilt. I picked up her phone, unlocked it, and began scrolling through her messages. What I found shattered me. She hadn't even attempted to hide anything. The conversations between her and her lover were explicit, filled with intimacy and affection. There were countless selfies of them together, laughing and enjoying each other's company. But what cut the deepest was the discovery that they were planning a romantic getaway, a spa retreat, to celebrate their 1-year anniversary. It was scheduled for the following week. My entire marriage felt like a lie. The happy memories we had shared now seemed tainted. I took screenshots of everything, saving them as evidence, then carefully placed her phone back where I had found it. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind was drowning in thoughts of betrayal, and I felt completely lost. 2 days later, Adeline casually mentioned that she would be going on a trip with her university friend, Alice, the following Wednesday. But I already knew the truth. This wasn't a trip with a friend. This was a romantic getaway she had planned with her lover. I kept my emotions in check, acting as though I believed her story. I even encouraged her to have fun, though deep inside, my anger was boiling over. I was furious, not just at her for betraying me, but also at myself for failing to see it sooner. That day, I made a decision. I hired a private investigator to gather more evidence. The morning of Adeline's trip arrived, and she left the house in high spirits, brimming with excitement. Unbeknownst to her, I had taken the day off from work, planning to distract myself with video games while waiting for any updates. A few hours later, my phone buzzed with a message from her. I made it safely. It's been so long since I last saw Alice. I'm really happy for this trip. Reading those words made me feel sick. She was away with her lover, yet she was lying to me so effortlessly. And then, as if to add insult to injury, she even joked about infidelity. Of course I won't cheat on you, she wrote. I clenched my jaw, keeping my composure. I replied casually, telling her to enjoy herself and not worry about things at home. I even threw in a light-hearted remark, saying I expected her to bring back some souvenirs. Little did she know, I was already planning my next move. I tried to keep the conversation light, masking my true emotions, though inside, I was deeply unsettled by her audacity. The next morning, she messaged me again. Good morning. Are you eating well? By the way, I can't seem to use my credit card. No idea what's going on. Can you transfer me some money? At that moment, I knew it was time to confront her. I had blocked her card in advance, so I simply replied, You can't use it because I froze the account. And no, I won't be sending you any money. Maybe ask the person you're with instead. Her response came quickly, laced with confusion and frustration. What are you talking about? I can't do that. I told you I'm with Alice. I can't just ask her for money. Why would you block my card? Did you max it out? She would try to paint me as unreasonable, but I remained composed. No, that's not the issue, I responded calmly. Her irritation only grew. Why are you acting so strangely? Have you lost your mind? She demanded, disbelief dripping from her words. I couldn't help but chuckle at the irony of the situation. I should be asking you that. Do you even realize what you're doing? I asked plainly, Who exactly are you trying to fool? For a moment, there was silence. Then she hesitated before repeating, I told you I'm with Alice. I let out a quiet sigh before delivering the final blow. Before we got married, we had lunch with Alice, remember? I even exchanged numbers with her. Today, I called to wish her a great trip with you. But funny thing, she had no idea what I was talking about. The silence on the other end was deafening. Then, after what felt like an eternity, she finally spoke. I'm sorry. I should have told you. I came here alone. I didn't want you to worry, so I lied about Alice being here, she admitted weakly. But her apology was hollow, meaningless. I had already uncovered everything on my own. I figured it all out myself, I stated, my voice unwavering. Without waiting for a response, I ended the call. I picked up the suitcase I had packed earlier, took one last glance around the house, and without a second thought walked out, leaving everything behind. That evening, I met up with the private investigator I had hired. He handed me a folder containing all the evidence he had gathered over the past few weeks. I thanked him, paid for his services, and left, feeling a strange mix of relief and dread. It wasn't long before my phone rang again. Adeline's voice was frantic, filled with confusion and panic. Oh, and where are you? I just got home, and your stuff is gone. What's with these divorce papers on the table? I could hear the rising fear in her tone, but I remained composed. I've moved out, I told her matter-of-factly. I already found a new place. Please sign the divorce papers and send them to my parents' house. I won't be seeing you again. At first, she sounded confused, but her bewilderment quickly morphed into anger. You're divorcing me just like that? Without even talking to me first? You can't do this. I could take legal action against you, she fumed. But just as quickly as she lashed out, her tone shifted to one of exhaustion. And you really think I wouldn't find out about your affair? She accused. I saw what you left in the envelope. For a moment, there was nothing but the sound of rustling paper as she opened it. Then she scoffed. That's just an old business associate, she said defensively. He helped me a lot when I was working, so I couldn't say no when he invited me to dinner. How did you even get these photos? Were you stalking me? Her excuses were so weak, so transparent, that I almost pitied her. Enough with the lies, Adeline, I said firmly. I'm starting to wonder if anything you ever told me was true. I saw you two together recently, by chance, and that's what led me to check your phone. I know you've been seeing him for over a year. I hired a private investigator, so I have all the proof I need. I even spoke to your parents. They apologized to me for what you've done. Maybe you should do the same. Her breath hitched, disbelief evident in her voice. Wait, you talked to my parents? Why didn't you come to me first? I wasn't fazed by her reaction, because I never imagined you were capable of something like this. I replied coolly. There was a long pause before I continued. You know what? You're right. We should get divorced. If being with him makes you happy, then I genuinely hope you find a happiness you're looking for. Weeks passed, and I gradually adjusted to my new, quieter life. But Adeline wasn't done. One evening, she called again, this time furious. Owen, because of you, his wife found out everything. She took the kids and left him. His entire family knows now. I felt a strange sense of satisfaction. Well, I said casually, now that she knows, maybe they'll get divorced and you two can finally be together. Her voice softened, almost pleading. I wanted that, but now he's saying he can't leave his wife. He doesn't want to see me anymore. Why did this have to happen? It was almost surreal, hearing her try to gain my sympathy after everything she had done. He chose his family over you, Adeline. Not surprising, considering his wife's family is wealthy. I remarked. She quickly tried to steer the conversation in another direction. Owen, I know I said some hurtful things before, but I miss you. Why don't we give us another shot? Her selfishness was almost laughable. I have no interest in going back to the way things were. I said firmly, just sign the divorce papers. My lawyer has already been in touch with you. From now on, if you have anything to say, direct it through him. The silence on the other end told me she finally understood there was no way back. I took that as my cue to end the call. Final thoughts. If you enjoyed this story where betrayal meets karma, don't forget to subscribe for more. Remember, revenge is best served cold, so make sure your next dish stays loyal. Stay tuned for the next one, and if you're under 18, you might want to skip it. It's not for the faint-hearted.